All right, guys, welcome to my garage. So, I'm about to assemble my dog's food, and I thought you might want to come along for the ride. So, let me just put this beast together, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what I'm assembling. Whoa, yeah. Okay. This is veal brain. And exactly what brain feels like. I'll show you in a bit. It's mushy and it's gross. Why do I feed my dog brains? I do because brains are really, really rich in DHA. You've probably given your dog glucosamine, sulfate, and hyaluronic acid. Where do you find those? In the joints. What are they good for? The joints. Are you starting to understand what I'm talking about here? It's like homeopathy. With homeopathy, you treat like with like. The same thing happens with organs. If you want a smart dog, feed them brain. If you want them to have healthy eyes, feed them eyes. If you want them to have healthy joints, feed him joints. So for those of you saying, if it's a secreting organ, it's good to go and and you only need to feed 10%. I object to that. Your dog should be getting kidney, spleen, pancreas, lung. Lung is not a muscle meat. Lung is lung. Muscle is a muscle meat. Heart is not a muscle meat. It's heart. And feeding heart will help your dog's heart. And my thought was, well, wait a minute. If your dog has hypothyroidism, this is good news, because instead of giving him those synthetic hormone drugs, what would happen if you just fed him more chicken necks? It's treat like with like. So that's glandular therapy. So apart from the extra vitamins and apart from the extra minerals and apart from the DHA that you'll find in brain and eyeballs, I think it's really, really important to keep your dog's organs healthy and firing well to get as many different organs into your dog as you can. So when I go to, you saw my brain, well, not my brain, some poor calf's brain. This is, liver. That's not very fun or entertaining, but I have a thing of liver. Now you'll probably notice there's a lot more liver than there is brain, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a cow for my dogs. So I know how much raw food I have in my freezer, and this is about 25% of all the raw food that I have in there, because I like to feed about 20-25% organ meat. Excuse me. So I have a lot more liver than I do brain, because the liver on average is about 2% of the animal's body weight, whereas the brain would be less than that. It would probably be more like 1%. So I try to think about how much each of these organs weighs, and I'm going to feed them to my dogs in roughly the same percentages. So that's my liver, and I'm not going to show you what liver looks like, because we all know liver, and we all know what liver looks like. Here, I got me some sweetbreads. So I've got some sweetbreads, which are typically kind of the thymus gland and the pancreas, and those come from calves. So let me get these guys out of here. What do we have in here? I got some beef heart in here. It doesn't look like there's enough. The funny thing about my abattoir is I don't always get what I ask for. Sometimes he tries to pawn a whole bunch of extra stuff on me. Sometimes stuff is missing, and that's super frustrating. You've all seen what heart looks like. There's quite a bit of fat on heart. The beef that I have for my dogs is about 90% lean. It's about where I want to be, so I tend to trim the fat off the heart. I hate grinding heart. It's just a pain in the butt. But there it is. So there's my heart, there's my liver. I have a decent amount of heart there, a little bit more than the heart weighs in the animal, but I do feed my dogs a lot of lamb, and lamb is quite low in taurine, so I just give them a little bit of extra heart in that case. We got lung. So I got some lung for my dogs as well. I don't care if it secretes or not. It's long, it's an organ, and I'm going to give it to my dogs. Again, I want to try to assemble a real animal as best I can. What do we got here? Kidney. Kidney is also a pain to grind. Kidney's nice because it comes with another little organ pal, which is the adrenal, which tends to sit on top of the kidney. So that's what kidney looks like. And I got a little bit of kidney. I don't have a lot because I actually bought this special just to show you guys. Usually I have a lot more of this to grind. So this is kind of an easy, what? Oh, and this is Christmas. I always ask for veal tails, but it's often hard to get them. This, I have Labradors, so I have large breed dogs. This is my favorite raw meaty bone. I get them to do veal tails for me and to cut them into thirds. I absolutely love these as raw meaty bones. They are just fantastic. I love giving them to my dogs. They love eating them. And that is the best surprise ever. They've just been really hard to get lately. So I'm really, really excited that they had those for me. So we'll put them over there for later. Okay. So my job now is to grind all this crap up together. I'm just going to throw in little parts from everything, have it all ground up together, and then I'll show you just the rough percentages and how I kind of do my dog food. What happens if you can't get these icky parts where you live? I think the next, we all say, oh, well, good for you that you can feed whole prey or prey model. I would love it if I could get whole goats, not live ones, and throw them over the fence and have my dogs eat the whole goats. It's just not something that I can do. I would love it if I could, because then I know they'd be getting every gland, every organ, everything they need from that animal. But we all have that opportunity to do that because there's always fish. The great thing about fish is that it's got the skin without the unhealthy fat that normally goes with skin. The main thing about skin is all of these organs and the meats that we feed our dogs are pretty low in vitamin D. And that's a problem because whereas animals that are not carnivores can make their own vitamin D, carnivores like dogs can't. So they rely on the animals that they eat to get their vitamin D. The animals that they eat manufacture vitamin D from the sun. That's just another reason why I don't like feeding my dogs poultry and chicken, because they're raised indoors. They're not exposed to the sun, so they're deficient in vitamin D. Cow skin is a little hard to feed because it's really, really fatty. There are some parts of cow skin where I will give my dogs that, but and even, liver has a little bit of vitamin D in it, as does kidney, but just not enough, nowhere near enough for your dog. So how do you get that vitamin D into your dog? Fish.